Hello and welcome. Now, even as Ghana and the rest of Africa gets into a single market through the Continental Free Trade Agreement, there are fears that the non-existence of a single airline could defeat the very purpose of the Continental Free Trade Agreement. For this to happen, the former head of commercial at Amtrak Air, as well as Africa World Airlines, Richard Tre, is calling for the single Africa air transport market framework to be fully implemented. Now, we could pull up this particular fact sheet on what the single market is all about. First of all, it is a flagship program of the AU Agenda 2063, which seeks to create a liberalized single air market for the movement of persons and goods within the African continent. Also, it provides a framework for the protection of consumer rights, fair competition among participating players, as well as a platform for dispute resolution. Plus, as of January 2020, only 34 countries, including Ghana, have signed on to the commitment to this free market environment. Also, the fourth point is that in the absence of this particular market, bilateral services agreement is being used by countries to enhance the commercial aviation and trade activity. So it's very much important, hence the concern that if we're not having this after, it could pose much more harm to its implementation. Richard Tre joins us via Zoom to explain his reasons why, especially when he has published an article to this effect. Even as Ghana and the rest of Africa gets into a single market through the Continental Free Trade Agreement, there are fears that the non-existence of a single airline could defeat the very purpose of the Continental Free Trade. For this to happen, the former head of commercial at Amtrak Air, who is also an aviation expert, Richard Tre, is calling for the single Africa air transport market framework to be fully implemented. Once again, let's pull it up, what exactly he's trying to mean. This fact sheet you could see soon on your screen spells out the fact that the single market is a flagship program of the AU Agenda 2063, which seeks to create a liberalized single air market for movement of persons and goods within the African continent. Also, it provides a framework for the protection of consumer rights, fair competition among participating players, and a platform for dispute resolution. Plus, as of January 2020, this is very important, only 34 countries, including Ghana, had signed a commitment to the SAATM. Also, in the absence of this, bilateral service agreement is being used by countries to enhance commercial aviation and trade activities. These are stark revelations we're getting from our fact sheet there. Richard joins us via Zoom. Many thanks for being with us, Richard. You have published an opinion piece to this effect. Does Africa currently have an aviation union or association? If you could unmute your microphone, please.
Thank you very much, Charles. Currently, we do not have one common union for African airlines. However, what we do have is we have AFRA, which is based in Nairobi. AFRA is for African airlines. It regulates the airlines, and also we have AFTAG. AFTAG is the African Commission of Civil Aviation, so that's also based in Dakar. So these two bodies regulate airlines. So AFTAG is for the civil aviation on the regulatory part, and AFRA for airlines on also the management aspect of that.
So there isn't a single market in general. But what could be hampering the advancement for a single airline market, in your view?
There have been a lot of concerns and a couple of issues creating this. But as the fact sheet reveals, currently we have 34 countries signing on to the solemn commitment. Some of the key problems is one, the ownership structure. So before you can be termed as an African airline, one, per the document, you need to have at least 51 or more % to be termed as an African airline. And these are some of the issues that carriers and countries are contemplating about. But again, the issues has been resolved. Two, we have another issue concerning harmonization of taxes, charges, and fees. It will interest you to note that if you look at our continent, taxes within the continent are very high, and based on jurisdictions of each and every carrier, you have taxes which has been imposed. For instance, if I'm flying from Accra to Lagos, you have close to $150 or less dollars between Accra and Lagos. That is taxes alone. More or less, if you look at Europe market, it's a different thing altogether. You can fly from any part of Europe, and the taxes on it will be less than $8. So these are things that we need to actually look at to ensure that the implementation of the single African air transport market becomes a reality. To abolish most of all these taxes and other impediments have to be cleared.
Well, so moving forward, how can we achieve the full implementation of this very much brilliant initiative?
We need to encourage governments. Currently, we have close to 21 countries who have not signed on this, and we need to encourage them to do so. Again, they need to also realize the needs and the returns that will be contributed into the GDP of these economies. At the background of this, a study was conducted between 12 countries, and out of the study, we realized that, which Ghana was actually part of that study, we realized that when we implement this, fares will be reduced by about 25 to 35%, and that is significant. About close to 5 million persons who ordinarily will not be able to afford air travel will be able to afford that. So this and many more, our region will be interconnected, and connectivity is key at this point in time. Now that we have AfCFTA, it is important to make sure we liberalize our airspace so that air transport, connectivity, our goods and services will be able to have a good
You're still watching The Marketplace. Let's still stay with the Continental Free Trade Agreement, because there are growing fears that Ghanaian entrepreneurs could lose out on the benefits of this single market. Even as we host the Secretariat, as well as trade beginning on the 1st of January, outstanding challenges crippling the competitiveness of young entrepreneurs still linger. First of all, we can talk about the access to affordable credits. We could talk about the favorable tax and land regimes, the cost of power, and many others. Let's engage the Chamber of Entrepreneurs on the issue as Sheriff Gali joins us via Zoom. Sheriff, we're so grateful that you could join us. We're having this discussion as well as the Trade Minister takes over the office of the Business Development Ministry. How do you box it all up in this particular regard?
All right, thank you very much once again for having me. Let's go straight to the issue. Having the Ministry of Business Development taken out, it is not a good feeling, but we cannot question the decision of our president, who we all know is a man that have the business community at heart. One would always want that we have a ministry that is focused on the business community, the development of entrepreneurship. But like the president said, the Ministry for Business Development was created for a purpose of which it has achieved the purpose. So it needs to be taken out. However, we believe that some of the initiatives the Ministry of Business Development were actually embarking on or were doing, we want them to be retained. We want to see how the Trade Ministry would find a way of ensuring that those things are still going on. And one thing that as a business leader or the business community in general wants is that the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Plan, that is NEP, we want it to actually not go directly under the Ministry of Trade. I have a reason for that. We want it to go back to where it were, which is directly under the office of the president. If that is done, we believe that the trade is having a lot of agencies under them implementing one or two programs. If NEP should be added to it, we think that NEP will not be able to function as it's supposed to be. So the initiatives that were embarked by NEP and the Ministry of Business Development, we are praying that if NEP stands under the presidency, they will be able to carry on those projects. But as it stands now, it doesn't change anything. We still believe that the Trade Ministry will do its best. We only hope that the Trade Ministry will work with the private sector players to make sure we are able to gel well, to dialogue on policies before they come out. So it isn't a bad thing. Anything that comes, we accept it. However, we hope that the Trade Ministry will be more engaging and consulting as far as the private sector is concerned. Well,
but we also have to take a closer look at the state of entrepreneurs in Ghana, even as the Continental Free Trade Agreement era kicks in. We're already some few weeks into its implementation. Key issues at hand: the cost of credit, issues of land regimes, and even taxation regime. What exactly are you seeing to be the outstanding challenges face entrepreneurs, even as we kickstart the Continental Free Trade?
Yes, so like you mentioned, these are just two of them, the issues of affordability or affordable credit and that of land. But you see, taxation is also one. One thing we need to understand is that aside all this, we are looking at a country that should have a strategy for after. No matter the situations we are facing internally when it comes to our entrepreneurs not being able to access funding. Now let's ask ourselves, what is the strategy of Ghana as far as after is concerned? How are we planned, or what is our program lineup going into after? That is one thing that is lacking. I know almost all the African countries also have issues with access to credit and all these things, but the fact is that they all have a strategy. The Nigerians will tell you that they are going to make sure that they become the tech giants in Africa. What is Ghana hoping to sell out? You see, if we are able to
does it mean that we have nothing? Does it mean that we have nothing to sell out at this point?
Well, you and I know that I will not say we do not have, but let's be honest. Even the cocoa, that is one of our strengths. How much of the cocoa are we having as end product that we are able to take out, even within Ghana? How much of our cocoa companies are able to come out with finished product that they sell in our market? We do not have. They can't even supply. Let's put it that way. If you are looking for any product of, let's say, chocolate, go to the shopping mall. You will see at least 90% of the foreign chocolate. So now, what is the trend? I am not saying that we have a lot that we can hammer on. The tech industry is there. We are looking at the agro-processing business. All these are sectors that Ghana can really focus on and export, especially after is concerned. But as it stands now, you and I are not too clear about what is really our strategy as a country. So for that reason, businesses are left onto their own to struggle, and to even understand them after is one of the things. How do they leverage that? So even if today our government is able to provide funding, even if today our businesses are able to access funding and land and all this, but at the end of the day, what is our strategy? How are we even helping these businesses to go beyond the borders of Ghana?
Okay, Sheriff, we're so grateful. We could have this discussion time and time again, but he's the CEO of Ghana Entrepreneurship Chamber, interacting with us on the clear issues at hand when it comes to entrepreneurs at the Continental Free Trade Agreement area.
African connectivity within our continent.
All right, Mr. Trem, we're so grateful that you joined us. Richard Trem is an aviation expert, joining us with his views on the single African airspace market.